Hey, I made it to the William Douglas Wilderness area, Central Washington. I just got here. Beautiful location. Nice. Check that big ponderosa tree out. Oh, wow. Very nice. Luckily I found the trailhead. It was at the end of an unmarked road, and the last bit was a little rugged. Look at these trees. Beautiful. I'm expecting some pretty dry conditions. This won't have much water availability. It's a place that I've never been, and I'm really excited because I've been wanting to come here for years. So I'm finally doing the roundup of the places that I've always wanted to go. Hey, this is pretty cool. This plant here is Canadian goldenrod, and I'm psyched because I'm going to harvest some of this and take it home for tea. What's really kind of interesting, right in the middle of that patch, there's some stinging nettle, which is just crazy that it's up here at whatever 5,000 plus feet in Central Washington. But it is a large ingredient in my tea. So it's just kind of a very odd coincidence that the goldenrod and the nettle are just right over there. So kind of pushing the envelope here on the daylight. All right. Gotta hike in a few miles here. Just gone a little bit from the trailhead. And there's fabulous meadows here, sloping down. It's a grassy, kind of a eastern side of the Cascades terrain with pine trees. I think this is a black pine right there. And we've got ponderosa pines. And this guy, I don't know, but look how big that one is. Doesn't look that big here, but that sucker's gotta be 200-300 years old. Now, if I crossed a trickle of water, which is a good sign, I think that I'm going to end up going back this way. Trail's right here. But there's, I think, a meadow up there where the water starts that I'm shooting for. Can't wait to get up there. It's the end of the journey for the day. Probably just enough time to set up and maybe get dinner started. This little pack has 4 nights and 5 days worth of provisions. Right there. And I'm also probably down to 3 liters, but I had 4 liters of water in there. And that alone is a good 10 pounds. So we're going to set up here, I think. Fabulous view. Fabulous view. Goat Rocks over here. Still full of snow. Mount Adams. I have to say that hike was a pretty hefty climb. Maybe 1,000 feet. Down there is a Rimrock Lake. And I don't have a water supply. Probably going to have a lot of elk running by tonight. Oh yeah, look at this. Beautiful. Right there, I see, is some water. Or snow or something. Doubt it's snow. Works for me, I'll check it out. Unless it's standing water. Huh. It's fairly early here. Friday morning. And I heard thunder. Got some moisture being pushed up from the south. It's a good time to get out and see if you can see any animals. The ground was wet by my tent. I could tell that some places there were some pretty heavy drainage of water, and here for this trip that I'll get wet. I am not ready to get wet. I didn't bring my rain fly. I have my ground tarp, which will cover the tent for the most part. I just came out to get a look around. It's a beautiful morning. I slept just a little bit longer. I forgot to mention on the way up yesterday, I found some strawberries, wild strawberries. They're really small, tiny. And when they're perfectly ripe, they are just so sweet. Also, I smelled animals a couple times, probably elk. There's a lot of elk tracks. I heard a couple footfalls over the night. Heard some hoot owls. It's kind of nice. So right now I'm going to have to backtrack a bit. Yeah, no more than a mile, I'd say. And get some water. The rest of the trip, probably 4 miles today, is on the ridge top, heading that way. And we're going to head to, I think it's Indian Creek Meadows or something like that, and then there's a couple of lakes, and probably set up camp there where there's some water. Pretty chilly last night, surprisingly. Took a while. This was all clouded over this way, and I did hear some thunder. It's probably going to pick up again today. This ground was all wet when I got here last night, so there was some rain. Check in later. Well, I've been huffing right along. I climbed up a pretty steep ridge. In the saddle, there's the it's called McNeil Peak or McNeil Point. It's not cold. I have this jacket on. It's for the mosquitoes. I'm going to take a little break, have a snack. I'm looking for where the trail picks up. Looks like it's right here. There's a good view, probably the best good view of Mount Rainier so far. It's got a little toupee on, gray-haired toupee. There's quite a bit of snow left. I've only seen one tiny little snow patch here. It's pretty hot. Big difference from this morning. Saw a couple elk. Saw one person. That's about it. It's pretty unvisited wilderness, I think. The trail that I'm on is a pack trail, which is for horses and mules and stuff. Here's a better view. This is a nice little spot up here. Yeah. Look at the paintbrush. It's a lighter color red than I'm used to seeing, and we've got some heather, some white heather. It's a nice patch over here, and some pink heather. Yeah, this would make a nice camp spot up here. Nice and flat, and the views are nice. Of course, there's no water. I did get water. It was about a 1 mile side trip that I did without my pack. Okay. Yeah, I think that's Bismarck Peak. And over here is Mount I don't know how to pronounce it. It's spelled A-I-X. Aix. My plan, and it kind of looks like it might work, was to get up there to Bismarck Peak, and I guess there's an old scramble trail that you can take to connect to, it's called Rattlesnake Peak, but you know, it's one of those things where just I'm not sure if it's going to happen or not. The left flank of that peak looks pretty rugged, and the trail goes up the left side. It might just get to that snow patch there. And you can see that the right flank looks real simple. It's hard to see where it goes. Yeah, the right flank looks doable. It's just getting around from the left side to the right side, which you know, probably isn't going to happen. I might day hike up it, and there's a big climb up to it. My next little leg of the trip takes me down into this valley, and I think there's a couple lakes up this way. There's some good water. There's a nice meadow up there where it's green. I guarantee there's some water draining there. I think that's the second time that guy's been through. I think last night I camped over there by that little hump and just came around this way. I'm looking a bit more at this Bismarck Peak, and I think I see a trail going up there, up to the left, and then perhaps a scant trail across the right in between those two snow patches. I'm going to look at the map and see if that makes sense. This is like a, I don't know, but that's a big bug. Flew up and thought it was a bird or something. I have never, well, I have experienced mosquitoes as bad or as worse than this, but I sure am glad I have this net right now, and it's not even foolproof because they can bite through it. If it's touching my skin or pants or something, they can bite right through it, so it's good to have it kind of draped over something. This is the first real meadow that I've come to. I don't know the name of it. Probably where all the mosquitoes came from. Most of the time if you keep a good pace and you're not going uphill, you can walk away and keep them at bay. But this, I was just walking, they were going into my mouth. I was walking right into them and they would just latch on. So This is also like the first real sign here that there are established campsites. Looks like a popular area. There's the altar, the sacrifice pit, and I'm not going to go much further. There's some lakes just up the way a little bit, and that's where I'm going to call it a day. It's still pretty early. It's probably 2 o'clock, but I've been working it. Hey, I'm a happy camper now. Nice flat spot here, and this is my view. Look at that. And we've got all the mosquitoes right outside. Check them out. You see them? There's hundreds. Got some peas and fava beans soaking for dinner. Those are from my garden. And what else? Well, I'm pretty darn pooped. And I guess the only other thing that could happen that would make this day exciting would be some thunderstorms. They're puffing up. They puffed up yesterday and things got a little exciting last night, but no rain came down. So I guess I'll need to set up my vestibule, the screen. I hiked from that last scene with the mosquito net. I hiked all the way here with it over my head and around my pack, and man, oh man, I was so thankful about that. They're crazy. It's crazy. This mosquito situation is just crazy. Crazy. I stepped out of the tent for 3 minutes and I was bitten probably 4 or 5 times. Ran back in and the mosquitoes were full of blood. I killed them with my own blood in them. This is not very fun. It's comfortable. I'm cozy in the tent. You know, it's not really confining. Can you see any back here? It's ridiculous. It wasn't so bad the first day, first night, first section up there. It's a little drier over there. Here I'm down in the lake basin. There's 2 lakes and then there's a big meadow. And it's a little damp over here, so I don't know what's going to happen with this trip. My back is complaining again, so I don't think I'm going to climb that peak tomorrow. It's a 2,500 foot climb, and there's no water. There was the best running water about a mile back before I got up to these lakes. I've got the lake water that I'm boiling for my dinner, tea, coffee, and oatmeal. So I just have to boil the water for 5 to 10 minutes, probably 7 minutes. That's that. I'll check in after a mosquito bite. Well, I got my wish. We got thunderstorms and rain. I hope it just doesn't get heavy, real hard and heavy, because that tarp doesn't cover the tent. At least the mosquitoes will go away. We got some fish jumping out of the water. I've been hearing those splashes since being here. Well, Wasn't too bad last night. Probably rained hard for 20 minutes or so, and off and on for an hour. Drying out now. Worst part was I forgot my boots outside the tent, so they got rained on, and they're a little wet. And what I'm doing is kind of wicking the water out with my socks and then drying the socks off. Basically drying everything off. Not too bad. One other issue was I had some clothes drying out there, and I brought them in, and they had some ants on them, probably 50 ants I brought in here. Kind of sucked. Anyway, I'm scratching mosquito bites. This is a real drag because it's a real pretty setting, and you can't go out and enjoy it without being swarmed by mosquitoes. So we're gonna have our breakfast, dry out, and I'm heading back the way I came. Plans have changed. Well, guess I'm not such a tough guy after all. I gotta go home. My stomach is killing me. It's been hurting for days now, and I woke up this morning, my head was just out of it. I climbed up this damn slope, and I can't believe I made it. You know, these thunderstorms are going on too. Pretty wicked looking. I had to walk right up to them, and it's funny because a couple years ago I said, well, if I'm gonna go, I'd like to be struck by lightning. I just hope I can put a smile on my face before it's over. Yeah, I'm heading out, man. I gotta go home.